and welcome to our podcast, Let's Eat.
This 6 weeks, we are doing Mediterranean food, and we are going to Luna Grill. It gives people some kind of commonality.
It can bring unity through foods and bring people together.
It allows people to take the things that region gives them and share how they interpret those things in different ways, like foods and like dyes and materials. So for this podcast, we decided that instead of doing an interview, we would research different types of Mediterranean foods and talk about them, because Mediterranean food is such an umbrella term for just the foods in a region that consist of so many different cultures and different people, and it's just such a wide range of things. So my first food that I will be talking about is hummus, of course. One of the most popular Mediterranean dishes, made out of pureed chickpeas, tahini, lemon, and garlic, and is often garnished with olive oil, paprika, and parsley. The name itself came from the Arabic word for chickpea, which I just thought was interesting because it's just a very literal name for what it is. And because this dish has just been around for so long, its exact origin is unknown. But the earliest recipes found for hummus are from the 13th century, which is really cool. This dish is very just popular along the Mediterranean, even though the chickpea itself is from the Middle East, which I thought was just an interesting little fact. And it is considered Israel's unofficial national dish. The reason for hummus's popularity in Israel is because it's actually very suited to the Jewish kashrut laws, and I hope I say that right, but I probably did not, which are just their religious rules that deal with how they eat and prepare their food. My second food is the dolma, or if you're a Western white person like me, a stuffed grape leaf. The name itself is from the Turkish word again, meaning something stuffed. And because it's such just an umbrella kind of term for this dish, because it's just very, there's so many varieties of dolma, that are all called dolma, so it got a little confusing researching this, seeing like 20 different recipes that were just completely different, but also very similar. And they all have just different names depending on like culture and region. Like there are just variations of the word dolma that go with who makes them, which I thought was kind of cool. On the more eastern side of the Mediterranean, dolmas are just hollowed out vegetables stuffed with grains, rice, meat, and seasonings. And then on the western side, and especially in Greece, the same stuffing is just wrapped in a grapevine leaf, which again, stuffed grape leaves. And this is also the more popular version of the dolma. Dolmas actually originated during the time of the Ottoman Empire and are still very much a large part of Turkish culture today, along with being very important to Jewish, Armenian, and Lebanese people, because they're made and eaten as a religious like food symbol, I think, for different festivals they have, and they're just a good reminder of their cultural roots in the Mediterranean. My last food is pita, which literally means flatbread, so I always find it kind of funny when people say pita bread, because they're just saying flatbread bread. I don't know, I just thought that was funny. And pita is just a round flatbread and is very popular along the Mediterranean and the Middle East for its just simplicity and wide availability to people. Pita is also one of the oldest foods on this list, being able to be dated back to the Stone Age, which is pretty crazy, but also not really, because it's just bread. But who knows? It originated actually in the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East, and it just spread from there. And it is most notably eaten in Greece and the Middle East, which it's basically just like a utensil instead of like a side dish as we would think of it to, like here in America. And it's just like just a tool that they use to get food in their mouth, and it also helps that it, is food and tastes good. So cool. Yeah.
Hello, today we'll be talking about a few snacks and foods from the Mediterranean region. And I apologize in advance if I get any of these names wrong. So for the first dish I had was spanakopita, which the name is derived from its Greek roots meaning spinach cheese pie. It is considered to be one of the most delicious authentic snacks in Greece and some of the most authentic spanakopita recipes in the world are believed to be derived from region of Epirus, which is northwest of Greece. Today, spanakopita is one of the most popular snacks in Greece and is increasingly available all over the world. And it is mainly associated with the Greek culture. The second one I have is moussaka, which is the name is Greek, but the term was derived from Ottoman Turkish, which was in turn borrowed from Arabic, with the Arabic word musakwa, meaning pounded or cold. Although moussaka is famous as a Greek national dish, it was not invented in that country. A medieval book titled A Baghdad Cookery Book suggests that moussaka originated in the Levant. It contains a moussakan recipe similar to that of moussaka. The cookbook was published around the 13th century, and moussaka is a dish of baked lamb and eggplant prepared throughout the Balkans and Middle East, but most closely associated with Greece and Turkey. In the Greek version, eggplants are sliced and fried lightly in olive oil, then layered in a casserole with a mixture of ground lamb, onions, tomatoes, sauce, and seasonings. So it really originated in Arabic. And lastly, I have shawarma, which the name is an Arabic twist on the Turkish word kerime, meaning turning. Shawarma was also originated in the Ottoman Empire, similar to the moussaka, and the culture is in the greater Middle East, including Egypt, Iraq, and Levant, which all.
So the three foods that I'm doing are falafel, gyro, and baklava. So starting off with the falafel, it originated from Arabic. It's a very Arabic name, and the plural of the word means pepper. This is a Mediterranean street food. It is a type of fried ball or patty, shepherd, fritter, or Arabic origin, featuring Middle Eastern cuisine made from broad beans and ground chickpeas. Most times often served in a pita salmon or wrapped in a flatbread known as a taboon. A falafel is eaten throughout the Middle East and is a most common street food. Falafel is usually made with fava beans in Egyptian cuisine, where it is most likely originated with chickpeas in Palestine's cuisine, or either chickpeas or a combination of both in Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. And the wider Middle Eastern, it's popular with vegetarians worldwide. It's most times served on in the pita bread, and it also can be in salads like pickled vegetables with pickled vegetables, hot sauce, and drizzled with tahine-based sauces. You can eat them alone, but you can also eat them as a meal. But most times it's served as an appetizer. The next thing that I'll talk about is gyros, as Aubrey told me to say. It originated in Greece. Gyro is an angelicized version of the Greek gyro, which means turn or circle. It's a sandwich made with either lamb and beef, tomato, onion, and yogurt sauce on pita bread. It really became popular in the 1970s. It was like a fast food in Athens, and it was also very popular in Chicago and New York due to immigration.
At the time, although like virtual rotisseries were starting to be like mass produced in the US by Gyro Inks of Chicago, the stacks of meat were still handmade. There were several claimants to have introduced the mass produced gyro to the United States, all based in Chicago, in the Chicago area in the early 1970s and of Greek descent. One of them specifically was Peter Parthenis, I think that's how you say it, states that the mass production of gyros was first conceptualized by John and Margaret Garlick. John Garlick was a Jewish car salesman who later ran a restaurant featuring live dolphins. So I kind of thought that that was like a little fun fact. Baklava, it's like a dessert kind of pastry. The English name is derived from the Turkish name, the origin of which is unknown and highly disputed, with people saying it was from Mongolian root, meaning tied up, or Proto-Turkish origin, or even Persian origin. It is a pastry dessert made of filo pastry filled with chopped nuts and sweetened with syrup or honey, one of the most popular sweets of the Ottoman cuisine. The pre-Ottoman origin of the dish is unknown, but in modern times it's still considered a dessert of Turkish, Iran, and Arab cuisines. In other countries of Levant and Maghreb, along with South Caucasus, Balkans, Somalia, and Central Asia. So the history of baklava is not well documented. Its current form was probably developed in the imperial kitchens of the Topkapi Palace in Constantinople, modern Istanbul. The Sultan presented trays of baklava to the Janssaris every 15th of the month of Ramadan in ceremonial processions called the Baklava Alai, something like that. The three main proposals for the pre-Ottoman roots of baklava are ancient Rome placenta cakes and Central Turkish traditional Turkic traditional layered cakes. There are also claims attributing baklava to Assyrians, according to which baklava was already prepared by the 8th century of BC. So I just thought that all of these were super interesting. I've had a falafel and I've had gyros many times. They're probably like my favorite things, and like I'm a very picky eater, and so like normally I don't go outside of like my Western cuisine kind of food, and like having both of these I was like, oh, I know some stuff about it. I know what it tastes like.
Thanks for watching. Bye.